In this video, we are going to go over all of the planets. This is a part of my Astrology 101 series where I went over the houses and the signs, and this is a video where I go over the energy of the planets. And I created this series so that you're able to see what astrology has to offer and all of the themes and topics that your natal chart can show, and just following astrology in general. So let's get right into this presentation starting with the luminaries. So the luminaries, also known as the sun and the moon, the sun is ruled by, or the sun rules Leo, and the sun really represents our soul's purpose in this lifetime, our physical reality, our life force energy. The sun represents the individual identity of the native and our consciousness. The sun can also represent the father and paternal figure. The sun represents authority and our outer expression. The moon, which rules Cancer, is the moon represents our emotional expression, our subjective experience. The moon also shows our intuition and intuitive connection. So, how we can connect to the moon, how we can use our intuition, whatever sign the moon is in can really show that and express, the best parts and the best ways that we can really tap into our intuitive knowingness. And the moon also represents our subconscious and subconscious habits and behaviors. The moon represents the mother and maternal figure and our internal expression. And Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, and Mercury is our communication style, information processing. Mercury represents our learning style, like reading and writing, our mind and mindset. Mercury rules our decision making, sense of humor, trickster energy. Mercury also rules siblings and cousins and neighbors, and rules are represents our local community and vehicles, travel, and our nervous system and our lungs. So these are all things that Mercury rules. So when looking in the birth chart, if you wanted to know any of these themes or topics, you would look at Mercury to get an idea of how this can show up for you, or the best way you work with this energy. And Venus. So Venus rules Taurus and Libra, and Venus really rules relationship. Venus is all about our relationships and love language, how we express love, and how we really expect to receive love and want to receive love. Venus rules our personal values and self worth. Venus represents money, our attitude towards money, material possessions. Venus represents women and feminine energy, and Venus is beauty and harmony. And Venus can really also represent our style and aesthetics. So, somebody that has a really unique style, they tend to have certain aspects to Venus, and it's really interesting. And Venus can also represents our kidney function, homeostasis, and our hormones, especially in women. And Mars. So Mars rules Aries and Scorpio, and Mars rules our action and anger and aggression, our willpower, motivation, and drive. So if we have afflictions to our Mars placement, we can tend to have lack of willpower, motivation, and drive, or if there are certain transits that are hitting Mars in a certain way. So knowing and understanding this energy can help move through these types of things and this type of energy. So Mars also rules our physical strength, physical energy, passion, sexual energy. Mars rules knives and weapons and war and violence. Mars also rules athletes and warriors and mental health. Mental health is how I was just explaining, where in your birth chart, if you have afflictions to Mars, then it can be a little bit more prone to mental health, but it's that lack of willpower, lack of drive. You can be more prone to depression, things like that. and Jupiter. So Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces. Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces. And so Jupiter is also known as the Great Benefic. Jupiter rules our luck and good fortune, expansion, overindulgence. So, where Jupiter can bring abundance, sometimes Jupiter can bring too much of something, which can create that overindulgence. Jupiter also rules philosophy, religion, beliefs, adventure, higher education, long distance travel, foreign countries, idealism, and optimism. And Saturn. Saturn rules Capricorn and Aquarius. Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius. And Saturn is known as the Great Malefic. So Saturn usually brings challenge, limitation, restriction, and delays. Where we have Saturn in our chart can be an area of life that takes a bit more time to really understand, work with, and move through. Saturn energy really requires discipline and responsibility. Saturn rules time, teachers, authority figures, government, and karmic life lessons. Saturn takes hard work and dedication to really effectively move through the Saturn energy. And you will go through your Saturn return roughly about every 30 years. After your Saturn return, you tend to be able to work with the Saturn energy a lot. I don't want to say a lot easier because it really depends on your Saturn placement, but definitely with less of a challenge. And Uranus. So Uranus rules Aquarius. It's the modern ruler of Aquarius, and Uranus is the great awakener. Uranus represents chaos and disruption and inspiration, liberation, rebellious. Uranus is very innovative and can bring insight. Uranus also rules electricity and technology and astrology, and Uranus can rule extraterrestrials. Uranus energy can be quite disruptive. And usually, where you have Uranus in your birth chart, you tend to do things a little bit outside of the box and different. And Neptune. So, Neptune rules Pisces. And excuse me, Neptune rules mysticism and spirituality and illusion, delusion, and confusion. Neptune rules deception and escapism, romanticism, idealism, all the isms basically. And Neptune can dissolve boundaries. So Neptune can also have to do with visions and dreams. And Neptune is very creative and artistic. And Neptune actually rules photography and doctors and hospitals. And Neptune rules our pineal gland and right brain function. And Pluto. So Pluto rules Scorpio, and Pluto really represents a lot of psychological transformative energy. Pluto's very psychic and rules psychic abilities and power and control and passion and obsession and compulsion. So Pluto's very intense, very deep, and really powerful. And where you have Pluto in your chart can actually be an area of life where you tend to be laser focused or have a deep transformative cycle or time period through your life around those topics and themes in your chart. So it's really interesting and quite it's actually quite interesting to dive into Pluto and your Pluto placement. It's Pluto's a very interesting planet. And so Pluto can also rule paranoia and suspicion, fear, past lives, and karma. And Pluto can also represent traumatic experiences in one's life as well. So this is the planets presentation. I really hope that you enjoyed this. And if you haven't checked out the signs or the houses video yet, make sure you do so. I will see you in the next one.